Deone Walker takes all too many plays from me.
I don't think he takes off plays. I think he's just so much taller, so it's easier for him. It's harder for him to play
all right,
low.
Well, let me give you an example. Okay, can I give you an example of the film you showed? I don't think that's a good play from him. Can I tell you why?
Which one? There's four plays in there.
First play when it looks like he's going all the way across the line and getting the rip. I don't know if you can play this or if it's something that we can play, but if you can,
let's not risk it. We might get
okay. Joe, there were multiple times against that game against Alabama that he got stuffed. When he faced off against Tyler Booker, he got stuffed. I mean, it was pretty bad. So arguably the best guard that he went up against, he was a non-factor.
I wouldn't know. I'm not going to classify that as he has a number of great plays in that game. I think saying he was a non-factor.
But if you're going to put him as your number 2, he better against the best team that he played all year. Or second best. Well, no, the best team he played. I mean, Alabama still beat Georgia. I mean, you got to make better. You got to make more plays.
All right, to be more specific on why I have him ranked as I have him, he's
great though. He's 3 for me.
Yeah. He might be one of the most rare defensive tackles that I've ever watched. And I said this in my tweet when I posted his film. The way that his feet, the way that he can move, the way that he can change direction, the way that he can drive, the way that he can burst out of his pass rush moves, which guys that big don't have pass rush moves. This was my problem with Devondre Sweat. His big ass used to just run through people, and then if he got stopped a little bit, he gave up. I don't think that Walker has that in him. I think he's got a better motor than him, and I think he's got a better motor than Davis. But the quick feet that he has, he looks like, oh my God, who was the guy on the NC State basketball team?
Oh, shit.
His feet are as light as his. I have never seen a 340-pounder at 6'6" that can move as light as he can. I think that kid takes a step forward if he gets into a little bit of better shape this offseason.
He's impressive. Look, he's in a very different situation, in my opinion, than Mason Graham. He gets more of the ability to get one-on-one because he's in that 3 tech, okay, because he's in the 5 shade sometimes. There are a lot of times, Joe, that he gets one-on-one where I don't think Mason Graham will. Like Mason Graham's getting doubled probably 75% of run plays. Where I do think that because he plays on the outside shoulder of the guard, that he's going to get more one-on-ones, so it's a man v. man. I went back and watched some of your stuff in reference to him versus Tyler Booker. I don't like the footwork in reference to how he's getting the footwork to the gap. I don't like his hand placement because there's a difference between hand placement in a running play, hand placement when you're rushing the passer. He tries to play half man, okay, which I don't mind playing half man. But when you're going up against a run and you're facing Alabama, you got to take Tyler Booker and get him off of you. And he consistently couldn't do it. Now, there was a play that you showed where, in that game that he got washed down and made a play. Well, he's getting pushed. It's not that he's just going to the ball.
But he's talking about the Alabama one where they're running like a wide zone and
they're running a wide zone, and it looks like a really good play, but it's something that, in my opinion, I would give an O-lineman a win in reference to that's where the entire O-line is going. The entire O-line is pushing.
I understand what you're saying, but I pushed
the guard. He's going from the left side of the guard in the play, and he ends up at the right tackle. That is not – as a defensive lineman, especially at Kentucky does not do that. They play gap v gap. I'm not even guessing about that. Your dude getting pushed that far is an issue for me. He's not getting pushed though. He reads where the flow of the play is going. He's playing a little too high. I won't disagree with that, and that's his biggest issue. He plays way too high. You made me break my favorite pen.
Well, that's on you for breaking your favorite pen. I look, I understand what you're saying, that he kind of freelanced that a little bit, but he still read where the flow of the play was going, and he found the ball. That to me is impressive.
He got lucky. And I know he got lucky. Stop.
Let me ask you this though.
Okay.
If Deone Walker if he learns to play lower this year, and he
He'll
plays much lower,
I'll make this argument. If he learns to do that and can take on double teams a little bit better, he'll be at the number one of this list because he's in the interior.
So I'm trapping myself in projection, but that's my reasoning why. I think that if he figures a couple things out, he is going to. And he already we forget sometimes when we have these big behemoth guys, their production's not really there. He had 12.5 tackles for loss, and I think it was 7.5 sacks.
Absolutely,
he's one of the most productive guys on this list.
He is the most productive guy on the list. That's why he's number 3 for me. But look, I'm going to say this, and don't kill me. Kentucky plays a shitty schedule. They play before
that's good for him.
That's what I mean. Now go look at his numbers in the SEC versus looking at his numbers when they face the first 5 games when they're playing ass cheek water teams. It's a vast difference. Vast difference. I think he had 5 sacks going into SEC play. So which means in the next 8 games, if I'm not mistaken, he had he had 2 sacks in the last 8 games, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's not true. He had 0 sacks against Ball State, prolific Ball State offensive line. 1 against Eastern Kentucky, 0 against Akron, half a sack against Vanderbilt, 1 against Florida, 0 against Georgia, 1 against Missouri, 1 against Tennessee, 0 against Mississippi State, 0 against Alabama, which makes sense because he got his ass kicked by Tyler Booker. South Carolina, he had 1, 0 against Louisville, and then he had 2 against Clemson in the bowl game.
Oh, okay. The bowl game makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
So he had 2 going into SEC play.
He had 1.5. No, he had 1 going into SEC play. But I mean, I kind of noticed the one thing that stands out to me is that he had 4 tackles for loss against Missouri. Like that to me is impressive because their offensive line was pretty good and they ran the ball really well.
Yeah, and there was a play, I forget when and what quarter. You can go find it and put in your film breakdown. He runs down my favorite running back of last year in Cody Schrader.
I want to add this before we move on to Scourton.
Okay.
We both have. When we've talked about Kentucky's defense, a lot of idiots try to clown on us. I'm telling you guys right now, this freaking kid, Jamon Dumas Johnson, and a couple other players on that defense.
I talked about
football.
I talked about them 3 weeks ago on or around your SEC. I think that, and forgive me, I don't remember the corner's name. He's number 31 though. I think it's Richardson, maybe.
Let me look.
Forgive me.
I know who you're talking about.
He led the SEC in picks.
Yeah.
The only thing with Kentucky though is, Joe, offensively, what are they going to be? Defensively, we know that they're going to be good. So we'll talk about them. But
is it Harrison? Is it Maxwell Harrison?
Yeah, Maxwell Harrison.
It was Harrison.
And he had 6 picks.
I'll tell you that right now.
I'm pretty sure he led the SEC in INTs.
He had 5.
Okay, 5.
5 last year. He's a good football player.
Harrison. How about that?
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.